Hey there, it's Flatbread Friday. I had some ingredients on hand and I'm gonna use them to make a fun pizza. And we're gonna get her done. I'm gonna show you what they are. When the frost started coming down here in North Carolina, I picked the kale out of my garden. It was kind of baby kale and I had it in the freezer. So that's destemmed and lightly chopped. I had some fresh garlic and a shallot on hand, pizza dough, and I had some chicken thighs in my freezer and I have poached them, and we're going to shred them, toss them up in barbecue sauce, and we're going to make a creamy kale and barbecue chicken pizza. And let's get her done. When I said creamy kale, that's not exactly what it's going to be. I used to love to make spinach dip, so that's what we're going to do. I have some cream cheese, some sour cream, some mayonnaise, some mozzarella, some Parmesan, and other ingredients. And we're going to make a spinach dip, but without spinach, we're going to use kale. And whatever we don't use on our pizza, we can dip some chips in it. And so it's going to be good. And let's get started. We're going to start by melting a couple tablespoons of butter in a skillet over medium-low heat, and we're going to soften up our garlic and shallots that are chopped. Season them up with a little bit of salt and pepper. And some true lime, garlic and lime seasoning, which is going to give it a little tang, which will be good for the dip. And we're going to soften these up. And while we do it, while these are softening up, we're going to assemble our other ingredients. So we'll come back and check on these in a little minute. Our our kale dip is going to start with a block of cream cheese that's softened to room temperature. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of mayonnaise. And a couple of tablespoons of sour cream. A small amount of Dijon mustard. Some finely grated Parmesan cheese. It's kind of clumpy together, but that's all right. We're going to blend it up. So, and some finely shredded mozzarella. And now we're going to go back and check our vegetables. And then we're going to come back this way and blend up our dip base. I should have waited a little bit to put the garlic in, but it's not too burnt. But now we're going to add some moisture from our kale and cook that down till it's wilted. And then we're going to let it cool down, and we're going to mix it in with our dip base. It should come out pretty yummy. This is on low heat right now. So that's going to take a few minutes to wilt. It's smelling good and looking good too. We're going to use our immersion blender to blend this up. Until it's all done. Our kale dip base is smooth and creamy, blended together nicely. We're going to let that sit for a while our vegetables finish up and our kale gets wilted. And then we're going to cool those vegetables down and incorporate them into this base. But in the meantime, we're going to pull our chicken breasts. Whoops, thighs, not breasts, but thighs are easier to pull. You just break them up and pull them into pieces. We're going to continue on until our chicken is all pulled up. Our chicken thighs are all shredded up. We're going to add some barbecue sauce and toss them around and coat them well. Okay. It's a good way to do it with your hands because you can get it nice and evenly mixed. That is looking pretty darn. Here's our barbecue shredded chicken. And now we're gonna finish up our spread, our dip spread. Our kale, garlic, and onions is pretty well cooled down. If you notice, I'm putting my hands on the bottom of this pan, so that's pretty cool. And now we're going in. We're gonna mix it together. I wish I had more kale, but didn't. So it's gonna have to just do. Or spinach, but I don't have any of that either on hand. We got to put a thin layer on because this will run all over the place. But looking good, smelling good, and it's going to be very tasty and yummy. Okay, kale dip spread, barbecue shredded chicken, not pizza, but we're gonna start building the pizza. Start by spreading some flour onto our work surface. It's just a little over a tablespoon. Here comes our pizza dough ball. And it's going to be a rectangle, so that's an okay shape. You got to stretch it out and shape it up to fit on a baking sheet. All right, I'm going to finish shaping it up. Our dough is pretty well shaped up. We can stretch it out a little more. And interestingly enough, this particular brand of dough says to let it sit when it's shaped so it can adopt its new shape. So we're going to stretch it out so it fits over the parchment. And then we're going to finish it up. Fold in and rise up the edges like we do. But we can make it work. Our crust is pretty well formed. And now we're gonna spread on our kale dip spread. That should be a good amount. We'll see if that works. And if that is a good amount, this is how much dip we have left. And that'll make a nice snack for the weekend coming up. It has to be in a thin layer because, like I said before, it's probably going to run out all over the place because it's mostly liquid and it gets melty. So we're going to work it around. So that amount worked out pretty well. We're all spread out. Now we're going to top it with our barbecue chicken. Here comes the barbecue chicken. Spread it around nice and evenly. Okay, pretty evenly covered. cheese is evenly spread around. And what I like to do with barbecue pizza of any kind is top it off with crispy French onions. It's one of my favorite things to top it off with. So we're gonna do that. We just happen to have some kicking around, and that's why it popped into my brain. Okay, looking good and ready to go in the oven. It's probably gonna take about 20 minutes at 425 degrees, and we'll see what it looks like when it comes out. The kale dip barbecue chicken pizza is out of the oven, browned up and cooked up, smelling awesome. And now we're gonna slice it and serve it. Here is our kale dip barbecue chicken pizza on a plate. And now we're gonna take a bite and see how it came out. Thank you for joining me while I made some of my favorite things: barbecue chicken, kale dip, spinach dip, but made with kale, and turned it into a pizza. Here's a slice, looking yummy, and now we're going in. Thank you for joining me for this week's edition of Flatbread Friday. I know I haven't done this in a while, but we did it today, and it came out so yummy, and it's gonna be a fun thing to eat all weekend long. So we'll see you again soon.